He was kicked out of his own family for buying the wrong gifts. But this was only the beginning. After 48 hours, the internet went out in their house. Then a message appeared on the screen that destroyed all the masks. And then all the gifts disappeared from the trunk of his car, even though the door was closed. They told me not to come this year. Just like that. No build-up. No context. No warning. My mom opened the door, took one look at the bags of gifts in my hands, and said, "We don't want you here this year." I actually laughed. For a second, I thought she was being cheeky, pulling some weird mom joke shtick. But then Jacob's voice, my older brother's, echoed from inside the house. "This is no place for losers. You're really starting to wear on all of us." I froze. There was my father, in the hallway, pretending to examine the crown molding like it had suddenly sprouted a problem only he could fix. My mother didn't flinch. She stood there, stiff and awkward, like someone halfway through a lie they couldn't back out of. I was holding their presents. For everyone: Jacob, his wife Kelly, their kids. I'd bought them weeks in advance. This year, for once, I had planned ahead. I'd even bought extras, for any surprise guests like they always had. And still, they turned me away. Like I was a last-minute party crasher bringing a bottle of warm soda to a wedding. I said nothing. Just turned, walked back to my car, sat in the driver's seat, and stared. My fingers curled around the steering wheel, but I wasn't ready to drive. The bags of gifts in the passenger seat sat there, quietly mocking me. My own family had voted me off the island. No debate. No trial. Just exile. Where had it gone so wrong? I'd always helped Jacob. Covered his mortgage once. Paid for his kids' summer camp. Bought Kelly groceries when she quietly texted me that the fridge was empty and they were making it work with ramen. I never once asked for anything in return. But this was new. I needed answers. So I went back. This time, I didn't knock. I walked in like I still belonged there. Because damn it, I used to. My parents were in the hallway, whispering. Jacob was already back on the couch, scrolling through his phone like nothing had happened. "What's going on?" I asked. My voice was calm. Too calm. "Why am I not welcome at Christmas?" Jacob didn't even glance up. "You really don't get it, do you?" he said with a smirk. "You've been slacking. The kids barely got anything from you this year. It's embarrassing." I blinked. "What are you talking about? I spent hundreds. There are more gifts in my car for your kids than anyone else." "Last year, you did more," he shrugged. "This year? It's like you don't care." My mom chimed in, trying to sound reasonable, like she was mediating a dispute about dinner preferences. "But you bought a new car," she said, glancing toward the driveway. "You found money for that." "It's on credit," I said, the edge creeping into my voice. "And even if it wasn't, how does buying a car make me responsible for your kids?" Jacob finally looked up, the smugness boiling in his eyes. "You make the most money. We're family. Families help each other. You've always done that." I looked at Kelly. Her face was red. She was staring at the floor, hands folded like a child waiting for detention. She didn't say a word. "You're saying, because I was generous, I have to stay that way forever? If I don't, I'm a loser?" "If the shoe fits," Jacob said. Something snapped in me. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just quietly. Irrevocably. "You know what?" I said. "You're right. I don't belong here." I turned to Jacob. "Enjoy your Christmas. And good luck with those presents. Because this loser is done financing your life." Then I left. I gripped the steering wheel so tight on the drive home that I left grooves in the leather. The silence in my apartment later felt like a vacuum. My mind kept replaying the words. No place for losers. That night, I stood in my kitchen, staring at the bags of gifts I'd left in the hallway. I had chosen each item carefully: custom headphones for Jacob's oldest, a hard-to-find toy Kelly had mentioned in passing, a vintage book my dad once said he missed reading as a kid. All of it sat there, meaningless now. What if this wasn't about the gifts? What if this was the culmination of something much worse? That was when I opened the group chat. Every family has one. Ours was mostly dead except for occasional planning messages. But last week, something odd had happened. A picture of a new flat-screen TV at Jacob's house, captioned, "Thanks, Secret Santa." The kids love it. I hadn't sent that. And no one had asked me to join Secret Santa. I scrolled back. There were pictures. A small party. Wrapping paper. Smiles. All without me. It hit me like a punch in the throat. They had already replaced me. I wasn't invited because I didn't need to be. That night, I did something petty. Something irreversible. I logged into the shared Wi-Fi router back at their house. The password hadn't changed in years. I disabled the admin account Jacob had set up. Reset the entire network. They'd be without internet until they figured it out. It felt good. And terrifying. And it was just the beginning. The text started about an hour after I shut the router down. Jacob, yo, is the Wi-Fi down for you? Mom, Danny, can you come over? The internet isn't working and your dad has a meeting. Kelly, which was odd, she never texted me directly. Hey, did something happen with the network? Jacob's flipping out. I turned my phone over. I didn't reply. Instead, I sat in my dark apartment, one lamp on, silence heavy as wet concrete. I wasn't celebrating. I wasn't gloating. I just stared at the glow from my monitor and kept thinking, if I don't matter to them when I give, then maybe I'll matter when I take away. Was I being petty? Absolutely. Was it overdue? That was the real question. By the next morning, things had escalated. My dad had tried rebooting the router, which didn't work because I had bricked the firmware remotely. Jacob posted in the family chat that his whole house was down and his client's Zoom call had dropped mid-pitch. His words, "We looked like clowns. You have no idea how important that meeting was." Important enough to cut me out of Christmas? I thought. But I said nothing. Then Kelly messaged again. This time, it was a photo. It was their living room. Dark. No tree lights, no TV on, Jacob's laptop half closed in the foreground. And in the background, barely visible, something strange. A gift bag. One of the ones I had left in my car. Except I hadn't brought any of them in. My stomach knotted. I scrolled through my camera roll to confirm. The bag with the red and gold design was definitely still in my trunk. So why was it in their house? I zoomed in. A tag was visible on the handle, to Sophie, from Uncle D. I hadn't even written those yet. Someone had taken my gifts. I bolted for the window, peeking at the street below. My car was still there, parked under the dim glow of the street lamp. I ran downstairs, keys in hand, yanked open the trunk. Empty. All the gift bags were gone. That was the moment I stopped being confused. Someone had been in my car. And not just any someone, them. My fists trembled on the steering wheel. My car had been locked. Either they'd broken in, or... I remembered the spare key. I'd left it taped under the wheel well months ago, just in case I locked myself out. I peeled the tape back. Gone. I didn't confront them right away. Instead, I watched. By nightfall, my mom had posted a picture on Facebook. Their tree. Their gifts. Her caption, "Family means everything. Even when it's hard." Especially then. My name wasn't mentioned. But there on the floor was the handmade model airplane I'd gotten for Jacob's son. Still in its packaging. I recognized the tag, even in the blurry photo. They had stolen the gifts I bought. They had given them to each other and acted like I never existed. And suddenly, I wasn't even angry. I was energized. This wasn't a family feud anymore. This was a case study in how far people will go to protect their fantasy of being the victim. And I was going to blow it up. I started with the Wi-Fi again. This time, I rerouted the router's DNS to redirect any attempt to visit Google or Facebook to a message. This is a message from the loser you threw away. Merry Christmas. They must have rebooted everything 10 times. The next morning, Jacob called. Not texted. Called. I let it ring. Then the voicemail hit. What the hell, man? This is seriously screwed up. Just fix the damn internet. Stop being dramatic. No apology. No recognition. Just, command. Like I was still on staff. The absurdity didn't stop there. Later that night, I got a message from my dad. A single photo, him, holding a flashlight under his face like he was telling a campfire ghost story. Caption, "We surrender." Was it a joke? A guilt trip? I didn't respond. But for the first time in years, I slept with a smile. 3 days later, something cracked. Jacob showed up at my door. He wasn't alone. Kelly was with him. She looked pale, wide-eyed, and holding something. It was one of the stolen gifts. She held it out to me silently like a peace offering, or maybe a bribe. A little box wrapped in green foil. "You left this in the car," she said softly. Jacob scoffed. "This is ridiculous. Just give him the crap and let's go." "Jacob," Kelly snapped, and it stunned both of us. She turned back to me. "We didn't know. Your mom, she said you dropped the stuff off. That you didn't want to come in." My pulse thudded in my ears. Why would I bring gifts and then leave without saying anything? Kelly's eyes flicked toward the hallway. I didn't believe her. But we weren't in a position to ask questions. I took the gift. It was the one for Sophie. Unopened. Untouched. Jacob muttered something under his breath and turned to leave, but Kelly lingered. Then she whispered, "You're not the crazy one." That was the moment everything shifted. Because I realized it wasn't just about me. There were fractures in their perfect little world. And I wasn't the only one who saw them. I couldn't stop thinking about what Kelly said, "You're not the crazy one." It looped in my head like a glitching voicemail. I replayed her expression, the hesitation in her voice, the weight behind those words. Something in her had snapped. Something Jacob hadn't noticed or didn't care to see. But I saw it. And I decided to push. I sent one message to the family group chat. No greeting. No explanation. Just, check your email. Attached, a PDF titled Receipts. Inside? Screenshots. Bank transfers. Purchase confirmations. Everything I'd ever paid to help Jacob and his family. Mortgage payments from 2 years ago. Camp tuition for both kids. Grocery orders from last winter. Hundreds of line items, neatly labeled. At the bottom, I included a simple note: "Next time you call me a loser, remember this list. Love, Daniel." Then I logged out. The first to respond? Surprisingly, Dad. "Son, we didn't know it added up to that much." I stared at that message for a long time. Not because it was an apology, it wasn't. But because it was the first thing he'd said to me directly since the front porch incident. Then Jacob posted a voice note. I hit play. His voice was low, almost calculated. "All right, man. You want credit for being the hero? You got it. Congrats. You've got everyone feeling sorry for you now. Happy?" That was it. Not an ounce of remorse. Just jealousy. Defensiveness. He couldn't stand that his narrative, the one where I was the moody, selfish outcast, was slipping. But something else was happening. Kelly texted me again. She wanted to talk. In person. We met at a coffee shop halfway between our places. She looked tired. Really tired. Not the kind of tired you fix with sleep. The kind that comes from pretending for too long. "I didn't know," she said before I could speak. "About the money. About how much you'd done." I sipped my coffee. "It's not about the money." She nodded. "I know. But it helps to have proof. You know?" I looked at her. "Why did you come to my door that night?" Her voice cracked. "Because I couldn't pretend anymore. Jacob, he made me say things. About you. To the kids. Things I didn't believe. Things I regret." I leaned back. "What kind of things?" She hesitated. "Then, that you were selfish. That you didn't care about the family. That your new car was proof you were pulling away from us." I stared at her. She whispered, "I think Jacob's been rewriting history. A little at a time. For all of us." I didn't respond. Because I already knew. When I got home, I found a small envelope slid under my door. No name. No stamp. Inside was a printed out screenshot. A chat window. Jacob's name at the top. The message: "He's lucky we even pretend to like him." No context. No recipient. But I knew what it meant. Someone was sending me a warning. Someone inside the house. I went back to the Wi-Fi controls. Just to check. There, in the logs, was a new device. One that hadn't been connected in weeks. Kelly iPad. She'd logged in. At the same time that email from Anonymous had been created. She was helping me now. I didn't know why. But I knew what to do next. That night, I posted something on my private account. Not public. Just visible to family. A photo of the gifts in the trunk of my car. Caption: "Still here. Still not enough?" The reaction was immediate. Jacob sent 5 texts in a row, all furious. But then something strange happened. My mom responded. Not with words. Just a photo. Of an old drawing I made as a kid hung on her fridge. Caption: "I never forgot you." What the hell was happening? Later, I got a call. Blocked number. I answered. A voice whispered, "Check your back seat." The line went dead. I rushed to the window. The car was still there. I grabbed my keys. Ran down. Opened the door. There, on the seat, was a wrapped box. Same paper I'd used for the family gifts. Inside? A single sticky note. Written in shaky, familiar handwriting. "You weren't supposed to find out. I'm sorry. Dad." I stared at the note in my back seat for over an hour. "You weren't supposed to find out. I'm sorry. Dad. Not we. Not your mother and I. Just him." Which meant, this wasn't a group decision. Not at first. My father had let it happen. And now he wanted out. The next day, I drove to their house. Not to be invited. Not to talk. To watch. I parked 2 streets over, slipped around the back, and sat in the alley across from the kitchen window. I had a clear view. Jacob was pacing. Kelly was seated, arms crossed, shaking her head. She looked like she hadn't slept. My dad walked in, holding something. A folder. He placed it on the table. That's when Jacob flipped. Even from across the alley, I could see the shouting. The arms flying. The stabbing finger pointed directly at Kelly. My mom entered, steely, silent. She didn't intervene. She sat down. Opened the folder. Started reading. Jacob stormed out a moment later. Kelly followed, looking like she might throw up. My mom didn't move. I left without being seen. That night, I got another message. From my dad. Come to the garage. Tonight. Alone. That was it. No punctuation. Just instructions. I drove over at 10 p.m. No lights on. Just the hum of the street lamps and the faint glow under the garage door. When I entered, he was waiting. Alone. Holding a cardboard box. He looked older than I remembered. Like every lie had added a year to his face. Without speaking, he handed me the box. Inside were receipts, bank statements, and a printout of an email from Jacob. The subject line? I think it's time we talk about cutting out the deadweight. Attached was a spreadsheet. With my name. And figures labeled expected support decrease. My dad cleared his throat. He wanted me to push you out. Said it was better if we made you feel like you didn't belong anymore. He paused. I didn't agree. But your mother, she said it was easier to just go along. I looked at him. Why are you telling me this now? He swallowed. Because I thought you'd never find out. And when you did, I saw what it did to you. I saw your face. He sat down heavily. You weren't supposed to be the villain. We were. I walked out without saying a word. I didn't owe him anything. But I kept the box. And the next day, I sent copies of everything to Kelly. By noon, the family chat was nuclear. Jacob had gone ballistic. He sent a barrage of texts. So now you're turning my wife against me? You think dragging everyone through the mud makes you the good guy? You're not the victim. That last one sat differently. Because I wasn't. Not anymore. That night, I got a call. Kelly. Her voice was hoarse. I left him. I froze. I took the kids. I'm at my sister's. He knows. He's livid. Why tell me? I asked. She paused. Because I want to know how to start over. You did it. I didn't, I said. I just stopped playing along. She laughed, one of those laughs that sounds more like breaking glass. Same difference. I thought that was the end of it. I thought the fire was done burning. But then, 2 days later, a letter came in the mail. No return address. Inside, a single photograph. Of me. Taken from behind. Sitting in my car. Looking through their kitchen window. On the back, in red ink, stay out of what isn't yours. The photograph haunted me. Not because of what it showed me in my car, watching the house. But because of what it meant. Someone had been watching me. And that meant I wasn't the only one pulling strings in the dark. I scanned the image under a desk lamp, running my fingers across the grain of the paper. Slight texture. Developed manually. Not printed at home. It wasn't Jacob. He was too loud. Too digital. This was someone deliberate. Someone careful. Which narrowed it down to one person, my mother. I drove to their house. Not to talk. To end it. I rang the bell. My father opened the door. He looked relieved. Jacob's gone, he said, like it mattered. I walked past him. Into the living room. She was there. My mother. Sitting with a photo album open, flipping through pictures like nothing had happened. Did you send the photo? I asked. She looked up slowly. Closed the album. I needed you to stop. Stop what? She tilted her head. Digging. Blaming. Breaking the peace. I laughed. Peace? You kicked me out. You let them steal from me. You let Jacob gaslight everyone, and now you're angry because I reacted? You were never supposed to know, she said softly. And that was it. That was the whole truth. I was never supposed to matter enough to be a threat. I left the house without another word. And that should have been the end of it. But 1 week later, I received an email. No name. Just a .zip file. Inside? Every family chat message from the last 5 years. Every photo. Every forwarded joke. Every time my name was mentioned. And the last folder? Labeled deleted. I clicked. It was a voice memo. Kelly's voice. You can't keep treating him like this. He's not your mule. He's your brother. And Jacob's reply. That's the thing, Kel. He's not really anything. He's a convenient wallet with legs. I stared at the screen for a long time, then hit forward, and sent it to every single family member. Extended. Cousins. Aunts. Everyone. No caption. No context. Just the raw audio. I moved out of state a month later. New job. New apartment. New number. I didn't give a forwarding address. Let them figure out their own Wi-Fi problems now. Last I heard, Jacob was trying to crowdfund a startup. My mom was heartbroken that I'd vanished. My dad sent a final message. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. I didn't respond. Because here's the thing. I didn't burn the house down. I left the matches on the kitchen table and walked out the front door. If it catches fire, that's not my fault. That's gravity. And that's where it ends. No dramatic showdown. No viral justice. Just a quiet exit. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't war. It's silence. It's peace. It's living a life they can't touch.